Welcome to New England Soccer Journal's The Goal Podcast, the podcast for serious soccer players and their supporters to help further their development and navigate their way throughout their soccer careers.
Hello and welcome into another episode of New England Soccer Journal's The Goal Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Langone, joined in studio by Matt Doherty as usual. Matt, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. And today our guest will be UMass men's soccer head coach Fran O'Leary, who's kind enough to join us, even though he's super busy with the season just weeks away. Fran, thanks for taking the time.
Oh, you're welcome, guys. Look forward to chatting.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great season. We were saying off air that, can't believe summer's winding down right now. It's crazy that we're into this point in August where college soccer is just a couple weeks away. Did it go by fast for you? Has this been a fast summer for you?
It has. It's flown in, but this is a fun time. I think everyone's been waiting for this. All the guys have been popping in over the last few days, so no complaints at all.
Absolutely. And what we want to do today is kind of preview the upcoming season for UMass. Fran, your program is coming off a great season in 2024, got all the way to the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament. You'll start the season in 2025 ranked 8th in the country, which is quite impressive. Let's just take the temperature from you about, kind of what you're thinking going into preseason training here and where the program is at right now.
Yeah, sure, Matt. I think we're in a pretty good place. It was a fantastic season for us, particularly in terms of scholarships. We're a little less funded than a lot of our peers and managed in many ways to overachieve. We return, I think we finished second in the country with clean sheets or shutouts. So we return the vast majority of our back four and our goalkeeper. So I think that's going to be, that's an area we feel we've got well under control. We lost further up the field. We lost some players, namely Alec Hughes, who got drafted in the first round. And we've got to see, can we step up? We scored a lot of goals. We scored 44 goals last season. So again, we were competent from an attacking point of view, but we've got to replace the 16 goals the big man scored.
Yeah. Such is life, huh?
Yeah, it was going fine.
It was going fine until then.
But I will say.
How do you do that, though? How is it one person has to step up, or is it a collective effort?
No, it's a collective effort. There's very few strikers in the country as prolific as Alec was at the collegiate level. But he went down. I think we were playing for them, and he went down at halftime with an injury. We were 2-0 down, and we ended up scoring 3 in the second half. We went the following game to Vermont, who won it all. We scored 2. And I think we were talking about this in the meeting today. He was out for 3.5 games, and we scored 10 goals. So there's goals still in the team. And I think that so it's just we'll create opportunities. There's no doubt about that. Will we convert them as efficiently as we did last season? Time will tell.
Fran, when Alec joined the program, he's a Connecticut kid, so a New England kid. But did you know that kind of career was coming for him? I mean, did he show early signs of that he would be that kind of goal producer at the college level?
Not obviously, Matt, at that level. We felt we look for players with what I call a hook, meaning there's something that really grabs your attention. In Alec's case, he had 2. One was lightning speed. He's been the MLS Combine and he's won every sprint test. I think we clocked him on our catapult system that he would have been the 5th fastest player in the Premier League last season.
Wow.
I think he was something like 10.1 meters per second. So his 2 hooks were obviously his blinding speed, but also the fact that he could score goals. So, will it transfer into college? Well, it did. Will it transfer now into the pros? Well, time will tell. But, we were pretty proud. Connecticut's been good. New England's been good for us. I think after we beat Virginia in the NCAA tournament, someone put out a pretty cool tweet saying that I think 6 or 7 of our starting 11 were born within a 60-mile radius of the campus here. So we were pretty proud of that. UMass has become a good home for New England soccer talent.
What do you think has contributed to the the rise of New England soccer. Like obviously last year Vermont won it all. You made the Elite Eight. UNH has been a really good program over the years. Like, what is it with this area that you feel like has contributed to, and D3 too, with a lot of the D3 schools in this area are great programs? Like, why New England soccer right now in your mind?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Well, I can speak for UNH and for, well, Amherst College and for Vermont. They're all great schools with terrific coaches. And so I think it's a pretty simple formula. And there happens to be a lot of very good players in New England. If you look at our side going into next season, if you look at our back four, we will have a right back from Connecticut, center back from Massachusetts, a left back from Massachusetts, a right-sided midfielder from Connecticut. So there's a lot of very good players in the New England area.
We love to see that, Fran, for our publication too. We love to see New England kids excelling. What's really cool too is you guys, Vermont, UNH, state schools too, not private schools, state schools getting it done. You have kind of the backing. I mean, you see it with Vermont last year, and then, Vermont Green FC just won the USL League 2 championship. The vibe up there was insane with 5,000 people. I mean, when you're a state school and you can have that kind of success, I feel like it rallies kind of everybody around you because everyone's kind of got a stake in their state university. Do you feel that as you guys find success, interest is generated on campus from students and people, in the Amherst community?
Yes. I mean, we've a small stadium. We can fit about 2,000. And right. You'll get, I remember a couple of years ago, we played BC, we've played Yale here, and it's been full houses. I think one of the benefits we've found, particularly recruiting kids that are close to the campus, is they take a great pride in representing, their institution or any New England institution. Their friends, their high school friends come to the games. Their old coaches come to the games, and it just adds to your word. It's just a positive vibe. You're seeing the same thing at Vermont now. They've done a terrific job up there.
How have you been able to build the program? Like looking back to when you started to where you are now, and to kind of have this sustainable success, like what does that take for you and the rest of the staff and the players to kind of get the program at a spot that seems to be where you want it to be?
Yeah, it takes everybody pulling in the same direction. I think the first 11 games here in my first year, I think we won 1 and lost 10.
Right.
So nobody was too excited to have me around at that stage. Fortunately, within a couple of years, we won the league, and the same guys won 15 games. We added a couple, but it was basically the bones of the team we inherited. There'd been a terrific coach here for many years, Sam Koch, and Sam, unfortunately, sadly, had passed away, which is a big loss to UMass. I was lucky to come in, excited to come in. I'd had a background in New England. I'd been the coach at Dartmouth for 7-8 years. What we got here is you've got an alumni base who's incredibly supportive, both in terms of showing up, but also in opening the pocketbooks. You've an administration that has been incredibly supportive. We've a brand new, practice facility, brand new weight room, brand new locker room. So you need that. You've got a group of parents who are excited about the experience their kids are having, and I've got a very good support staff with assistant coaches, performance coaches, athletic trainers. So you need the whole thing. If there's a weak link, it's difficult. We've gone to a few NCAAs now. We've obviously had a great year this past year. We're moving into now what's ranked the 3rd highest conference in the country in the Summit League. So we'll have our work cut out. We'll find out, it will be challenging. It's a multi-bid league, 3 or 4 teams annually, go to the NCAA tournament. Denver, who beat us, went to the Final Four. We obviously went to the Elite 8, and I think Kansas went to the 16. So it's gonna be tough to keep this thing going.
I'll tell you what, Fran, you just read my mind, because my next question was going to be about that move to the Summit League, because it's a new chapter for the program, and it's you'll be traveling to some different areas of the country than you were accustomed to in the Atlantic 10, some different competition. like you said, it's a really good league RPI wise. How are you feeling going into? Are there any? I should say, are there any advantages to be the new kid on the block, the new team in the league, or is it tough because you haven't familiarized yourself with as many of these programs as you were with the A10?
Yeah, I think it's a challenge, Matt, in a way that we've got to get used to flying on a Friday, 3-4 hour flight on a Friday, play on a Saturday and hop back on a plane and maybe get ready for a midweek non-conference game after it. So it's going to be a new experience. It's going to be exciting. In one way, it's a very competitive league, but there's 7 teams in the league. So if you can finish in the top 4, you're already in a conference semifinal, and you're then within touching distance of a conference title and an automatic bid. Maybe ask me this question in December, where if we're 0-7 in the conference, I'll tell you it's a terrible move. If we're 7-0, we'll be very, very happy.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. I mean, Denver is in the league, right? Or is Denver not in the league?
No,
Denver's in the league. So I mean, that right there is a top 6 team in the country, top 5 team in the country to start the season. So you will get kind of those measuring stick games, right? I mean, those kind of have to be advantageous for anyone to see those high level games in late September, early October. I would think that might be a benefit.
Oh, very, very much so, because you're up against elite opposition. I think Kansas and Denver both come here.
Yeah,
they're both in the top 25. These are top teams. Omaha is usually in and about the NCAA tournament. Oral Roberts is in and about the NCAA tournament. So we're going to be challenged every single game. The A10 was great. Mm-hmm. And then this now gives us, from a recruiting perspective, it's been a big boost because players want to play in the, in this conference, to come up, to be in a conference of 7 teams where 3 or 4 any given year will probably go to the NCAA tournament is exciting.
Yeah, we're looking at Denver's preseason 4, your preseason 8, Kansas City preseason 18, right? So there's 3 teams in the league, 3 of the 7 teams in the top 18 to start the year.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I might look a bit older in a few months.
Hey, you always get better by playing the best, right?
Exactly. It'll be a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah. I know we talked over the winter when I did my recruiting story, and you were a great asset to that. Like, how was the recruiting this summer? Like, we obviously talked about that problem with the high school recruits, and we were just talking about it off camera about the class of 2026 recruits. Like, have you noticed anything different over the summer? And how's that process been going for you and your staff this year?
Yeah, we've taken in, I think, 6 freshmen. Now they look like freshmen, and we're in the meetings, and they look like freshmen. I think the biggest thing, I'll be saying to them is, several years ago, because I've been doing this a while, college soccer was a 21 and under league. You came in as a 17, 18-year-old, and you went out as a 21-year-old. Now it's really a 25 and under league with the amount of transfers and grads. So I had a parent swing by yesterday when they were dropping off their freshmen. And what I said was, it's not so much about, am I going to play right away? Obviously, if they're good enough, they will. But what they've got to be looking at is they've got to do enough to convince us that we don't go out next year and bring in a grad, that we say, oh, by sophomore year, this guy is ready, and we can, put our resources, or if we're going to bring in a grad, it's in an emergency situation. So that's sort of a mindset change. Years ago, it was always, I've got to come in and play as a freshman. It's just a different world. The best example I can give because I'll always preach patience, is our goalkeeper, Alex Gatesy. Alex played 1 game over the first 3 years. He conceded, by his own admission, he threw the ball in the back of the net 3 times in that game. And yet this year, he's our starting goalkeeper. He's a Philadelphia kid. He went and stood on his head against Penn, I think in the round of 32. They were ranked top 10 in the country. I think they were number 5 or 6. And he was magnificent. Now he'll come back for a 5th year, and he'll garner interest in the USL, if not the MLS. but for the first 3 years, he didn't play. A lot of kids will jump and run, and then they're sitting on the bench somewhere else and back to square one.
Yeah. That's a great way of looking at it. It's almost like freshmen convince me now that I don't need to bring in a graduate next year. That's the first way I've really heard a coach put it that way. And it shines a new light on it. What advice would you give to a kid who's coming into a Division I program as a freshman from like May to July? What should they be doing to gear up, to get ready, get on campus and be ready for that?
Yeah, I think the first thing they have to do is make sure they protect what they got. They've worked awfully hard. The parents have invested. They've invested time and effort in their academics, and they become a brand at that stage. So in May, they become a UMass soccer player or a Vermont soccer player. They've got to protect that. So they've got to behave themselves over the next few months, because being admitted in May doesn't guarantee you arriving on campus in August if you get into trouble. So that's the very first thing. Athletically, Matt, I think what you're trying to do is play at a good level. Obviously, take care of your conditioning packet, and just also, I think even before that, is watch games. You know, I have a ton of kids who'll come by and say, I can play Division I, and I'll follow up and say, how many Division I games did you see this past season? And they'll say none. And then I'll say, are you psychic, or what are we dealing with here? So I would watch, if it's summertime USL games where there are older college players playing, I'd watch those games if you're not able to play in those games. So I would have as good a feel and try and limit the adjustment period as best possible.
Yeah. How would you, obviously you've been around college soccer here in the States for a while. Like, how would you kind of assess the Division I landscape right now? Like, even looking at the top 25 and what happened last year, it feels like it's wide open. Like, there's new programs that emerge. It's not necessarily the Power 5 schools, Power 4 schools that dominate. Like, what's kind of the state of D1 college soccer right now in the States, like, in your mind?
Yeah, well, I think you look at that, and I think that's very healthy. I've always been a fan of college soccer. There's different taxes. Is it the role of college soccer to develop players or develop doctors and lawyers and so on? You know, to me, if you just look historically at college soccer, I think you only have to look back to the best U.S. team ever, and it was Bruce Arena's team that went to the quarterfinal of the World Cup. And I might be off by one or two, but I think 17 of those guys in that roster played in college. So, you know, there's some good stuff happening. Patrick Adjaman just went to Derby County for many millions. He played in college. So I think that it's in a good place. I think it's in a great place when you can have a University of Vermont win a national championship, a University of Massachusetts get to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
It shows there's more parity. For us, you know, we've got two or three. We've had Matt Sense from Connecticut, who's been in with MLS clubs this summer. It's given guys an opportunity that maybe they wouldn't have had elsewhere if they'd gone to one of the brand big now we're in a big conference, but before that, if they'd gone to a big conference, they may have sat on the bench and looked to come back a few years later. So I feel I'm a big fan of college soccer. I think I'm a big fan for it producing people, good adults, and it also, if you're good enough, you're going to make it as a pro.
Fran, what would a successful 2025 season look like for UMass? I mean, you're obviously early on here, and you're following up a great season last year. Do you feel like there's enough in the room, enough in the locker room to get you guys deep into the NCAA tournament? I mean, do you feel like there's a lot of talent on this roster?
There's a lot of talent, Matt. There's a guy who I learned a lot from many years ago. Is the old Dartmouth coach, Bobby Clark. He's a Dartmouth and Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
And Bob every year would say to me, he'd go, we're going to finish 0-17 or 17-0 or somewhere in between. And
that's a good way to put it.
That was a good, because it's pretty accurate. I can't be wrong if if I say that. Look,
sounds like something Yogi Berra would say or something like that.
Yeah. He'd like to be compared to Yogi Berra, I'm sure. Years ago, when we started winning, so when I came in here, it was, I took a few notes. I was excited to come back to New England. We're in Toronto. We've been let go in the MLS, and we didn't have a ton of scholarships. They'd lost a very popular and well-loved coach had passed away. And I just wrote down, get better and have fun. And when we were 1-9, 1-10, we lost our first conference game. We said that in the dressing room, let's get better and have fun. When we were in the quarterfinal, getting ready to play Denver, it was the same thing. We want to get better and have fun. And that, to me, if we are better at the end of the season than we are at the start of the season, we'll have had a bit of fun and it will be a successful season.
It's a good way to look at it.
That's a great way to look at it. I mean, that way you cover all bases. 0-17, 17-0, or somewhere in between. That's perfect. I'm gonna start trying to use things like that in my everyday life. I'm just gonna say, I'll either get everything we need at the grocery store, or nothing we need at the grocery store, or somewhere in between.
Or a couple in between. There you go. Guaranteed success.
This is Haverford College men's soccer, where tradition meets ambition. As the oldest college soccer program in the country, Haverford Soccer has built a legacy of excellence that spans over 125 years. But we're not just proud of our history, we're building the future. At Haverford, we compete in one of the most rigorous academic environments in the nation, and we thrive. Our players are relentless competitors, disciplined students, and emerging leaders, all committed to one shared mission, pushing the game forward while pursuing excellence in every aspect of their lives. Our soccer identity: tough, fast, technical, team first. Our culture: confident, inclusive, purpose-driven. We play to win, we train to grow, and we develop men ready to lead, on the field, in the classroom, and far beyond. Join a team that values tradition, pursues greatness, and plays for something bigger than itself. This is Haverford men's soccer. Elite, academic, relentless.
That's good stuff, Fran. Well, we appreciate the time on previewing the season here, and now we're going to turn things over to our producer, David Yaz, for extra time. He's going to hit us with 3 fun and wild questions from the world of soccer.
It's the end of regulation, so let's move to extra time.
Yes, welcome back to Extra Time, the fun, the wild, the wacky, the unpredictable. I'm not sure where you get that from, Matt, but I'll do my
I'm your hype man.
All right. I appreciate it. All right, Coach, we'll start with you. 3 questions. Question number 1. What, in your opinion, what kind of habits are players developing in youth soccer these days, whether they be positive or negative?
Good question. I think a positive one is that, and maybe it's just this generation, that they are positive towards each other. They encourage each other. They look to pick each other up. Negative one, usually you'll hear too many touches on the ball when they're unnecessary. You want touches on the ball when you're beating people, when you're dribbling, but when you're just standing around, you should just keep the ball moving.
Interesting. Excellent answers both. Matt D., your thoughts on what happens?
Wow, you got skipped.
I did.
Can you repeat the question? I was a little zoned out.
How dare you report to class unprepared?
Am I that boring?
No, not you. I missed. No, you gave good answer.
You were great.
I feel like I have an idea what the question is, but I just want to hear it again.
In your opinion, what kind of habits these days are players developing in youth
good or bad
soccer, whether they be good or bad? Right.
A little bit of selfishness. I feel like sometimes players are a little too me focused. I think maybe the club world can promote that a little bit, where you want to be seen and you want to show off. But I think sometimes some bad habits that I see watching amateur soccer, like especially high school level, is just kids trying to do it all themselves instead of playing within the team, or maybe making that extra pass instead of scoring, trying to shoot and score themselves. I think that's a bad habit that I see in soccer and youth sports all around. I think and that's a whole nother topic. That could be like, it's kind of, the industry promotes that a little bit, but I think that's a bad habit that I see a little too much.
Fair enough. Matt Langone.
I think the biggest thing is every player's desire at a young age to be a goal scorer and want to score goals to the point where like, I want to play forward. I want to play forward. I want to play forward. It goes on and on and on. I mean, even into the older grades where like the failure to realize that like we need some competent backs. We need a midfield. Not everyone is going to be a goal scorer. You may score goals. You can score goals from any place in the field. But you're not just going to be up top scoring goals. And that's, I see that from, my son's going in 8th grade and I see that from at that level. I see a lot of kids who just want to be goal scorers. And it can be detrimental sometimes.
Question number 2 will go reverse order. So Matt Langone, you can start with this one. Can a soccer team that has no clear captain or leader on the roster succeed as well as a team that has one defined leader?
That's a lot of
moving parts,
nuance to that. I don't think you need to be labeled a captain to be a leader. So you have to have leadership. You have to have players who can be leaders. They don't necessarily have to be the captains. I mean, sometimes captains take all shapes of personalities. Sometimes they're just, the lead by examples type. But I think you do need players that hold other players accountable, particularly the older you get. You can't just have zero leadership. I mean, because the adults and the coaches, their voices are going to resonate, but ultimately I feel like you need some players to kind of be those authorities in the room. So if you don't have leadership, I don't think you're going anywhere. Fran would know better than me with this, but that's how I would say. Without a leader,
so you're saying yes.
Yeah, I'm saying you need leaders.
Matt, we'll go to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say no, and now I completely 180 to yes because
I convinced you.
No, I was also thinking of Fran. Like, okay, so then don't have a coach. Like,
no.
I'm
saying, well,
no, you need to designate captains. You need someone to set the tone within the players. That's like saying, no, we don't need a head coach. We can have 7 coaches. Like, it's not going to work. You need someone to set the groundwork as a coach and lead the team as a coach. And I think the same thing translates to players where, you can't have 18 voices. You need a couple of people to really set the tone, set the room. So I'm going to say yes. You need captains.
Fran, your thoughts on leaders, whether defined or otherwise?
I think if you offered me like 11 Lionel Messis for next season, said none of them were a captain, I'd take 11 Lionel Messi. But seriously, yeah, we were talking about this morning actually with the team, and the way we define leadership is the essence of leadership is influence. So everybody is going to influence. You'll need some stronger characters to exert real influence. You hope your stronger characters will exert a positive influence, and usually your stronger characters end up being the leaders. If your strong characters are good leaders exerting positive influence, you've got a chance.
Excellent answer. I'm not surprised. Both you guys were wrong. Fran was correct. No, good thoughts all. Final question for extra time, and we'll start with you, Coach. Tell us how the role and importance of a soccer coach might compare to other sports.
Oh, interesting question. Yeah, it's well, you look at basketball and they're involved in practically every play. So that's very heavy on game day, more so than a soccer coach. But I think all sports, it's the work that's done, before the game and then at halftime. I think the real influence of a soccer coach is during halftime, and the way to gauge what you do at halftime is, do you play better in the second half or do you play poorer in the second half? Do you have more shots in the second half? Do you limit your opponents to less shots? So I think, standing up for the coaches union, I'd say all coaches play a pivotal role. particularly if I'm in contract year, I'll tell the athletic director we're practically invaluable. But I think obviously the one that stands out to me on the game day is the influence basketball coaches have. But I feel that soccer coaches, most coaches, the main influence is what you do during the week. Do you get buy-in? Does your team reflect yourself in a positive way? I think they're the key things.
I suppose the counterpoint to basketball is, sorry. I really should clear my throat.
I have a take here.
All right, well, you know what? I'll let you do
go. No, I want to hear what
I was just going to say if you have one or two amazing players on a basketball team, you only got 5 players on the court. And so if 2 of them are sort of carrying the load of the talent of your team, perhaps that would, posit the idea that a soccer coach is more important just by virtue of numbers, so more moving parts to manage.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So if I'm looking at the coaching hierarchy in the major sports, I think soccer coach is second. I think football is number one, most important coach, then soccer. I think baseball is run by the GMs now, and a basketball coach, like the Celtics would have won the title last year if you and I were the coaches. Like if you have the talent, especially in the NBA.
How many titles did Phil Jackson win with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal? I mean, you just
seriously. I think a soccer coach.
Phil Jackson wasn't a good coach.
No, I think he was. I think he was a good personality manager, and I think he was a good kind of like what Joe Torre was with the Yankees, with all that talent. Like just keep everything in line. But I do agree with Doherty. I think I would even almost say a soccer coach. Might be tougher than a football coach at the high. We're talking at the highest level because there's so much delegation going on an NFL coaching staff. There's coordinators and position coaches and like the linebacker coach is in the room with the linebackers. And this, like the head coach is over. The head coach is overseeing it all. But on a soccer team, I mean, the soccer head coach is the main voice in that locker room, and it's all about like Fran said, the preparation leading into game day. Because once that game starts, Fran, right? I mean the time, it's running clock. The time's not stopping. You kind of just relying on the players to lean on the preparation that you put in, right? I mean, because there's only so much you can substitute and things like that and give a halftime speech, but a lot of it is that preparation.
A lot is the prep, Matt, and then your opportunity to tweak it is halftime.
Adjustments,
halftime
right?
adjustments.
That's and it's hard to get adjustments in over the course of a half,
right?
But you can get them in at halftime. So that's where you really sort of earn your money. Is building up to the game and during halftime.
Fran, have you ever completely shifted an approach? Like, I mean, completely shifted an approach at halftime and had it work? I mean, have you ever gone to a match and say, we're going to do this? Oh, it's not working. Let's do this instead. I mean, or is it minor tweaks? I mean,
this past season, as I say, we played for them and they dominated because their wingbacks were causing havoc. So we just, instead of playing 2 up, we played 3 up in the second half and just pinned their wingbacks in. So they suddenly ended up with 5 at the back. And fortunately, we scored a couple of terrific goals. So it wasn't me, but you're always going to make yourself a hero on the good days. There's
next
other
contract
days
you're going to say that too in the next contract.
That's all you. Don't sell yourself short.
You can, and it's, I've been on the wrong end of it too. You know, I've been involved in enough games, but no, you can change things. You know, whether it's you're trying to play and you can't go through a team, and then you go back to front and you find the centre backs can't really head a ball.
Right.
It can you know. But that's usually, you get that point across, I find, at halftime. It's difficult to change that during the course of a half.
Yeah, and even then, it's still hard to get, I mean, take away the goalkeeper, but to get 10 field players in line with that mentality shift is still hard. Because in like basketball, it's like, okay, our man's not working. Let's go to a zone. Let's go to a 2-3. Let's go to a full court press. It's easier to kind of manage those 5 bodies. I feel like
you can also call a timeout.
Yeah,
frequently where in soccer, you know, you don't see many timeouts, especially in a first half. Like you're not calling a timeout to change things up 15 minutes in.
I even marvel at like a soccer practice when you're just going through your day-to-day practice, you know, to get 11 players on the same page with your shape and everything. I mean, it's hard. I think it's super hard to manage that stuff. And so I hold what a soccer coach has to do at a really high level.
Yeah.
I need you to become the athletic director. This is great.
Maybe I'll be your agent.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Save this tape, coach, and we're happy to present it to the higher up for your next negotiation, and we've got your back. Terrific job on extra time. The Mats, you did pretty well.
That wasn't our best extra time. You were great, Fran. I'm saying from us, we were not our best.
Yeah,
well, David stumps us. That's the problem. He gives good questions.
Always.
Yeah, if these guys aren't flustered, I'm not doing my job. That's just good podcasting. But seriously, though, terrific job all around. And back to you guys to wrap things up.
All right. Thank you, David. As always, great stuff. It's tough being in the same room as David, too, because you have to look into the eyes of the beast with the questions and you just get intimidated. Fran has the luxury of being remote, so he doesn't have to deal with that. But Fran, thanks for everything. We appreciate the time. We know you got training later today and the season just a couple of weeks away, and best of luck going forward. But I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. You guys do a great job. New England Soccer Journal is must reading. I'd encourage everybody to subscribe. Thanks a lot, guys. All the best.
Fran.
We appreciate that, Fran. Thanks so much
Good
for the
luck
kind
this
words.
season.
And Matt, thanks for sitting in as always and,
thanks for
doing a
having
great
me.
job. And I'm Matt Langone. Thanks for listening. New England Soccer Journal's The Goal Podcast is produced by David Yaz and is a Siemens Media production.
You've been listening to New England Soccer Journal's The Goal Podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to our podcast. Or visit anysoccerjournal.com/podcast. Siemens Media. Inspiring, informative, insightful.